Do people in Canada have cable, like other people?
We keep this up in the playoffs. I don't care.
And at Chili's. Is it a Chili's? At Kyle's?
Achilles.
Finally.
You don't know that?
Say it.
Fuck you! Get this guy the fuck out of here!
Alright, well, coming in at number 5, I got Anthony Stolars.
Now! Jets are winning the cup!
Thank you for watching and listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NordCast and the Nord and Block podcast. It is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. I am your host here, Nordic97. We got the whole crew here today, if you're watching on the audio end or listening on the video end. I said that purposefully. We are joined here with Carter. Carter, how are we doing?
Doing all right. Great time to be alive for sports. NHL final starts up. NBA final starts up. Baseball's in full swing. About to get Canadian football back, and NFL football is training camp is underway. So we're hitting the golden age of sports again. It's feeling really good, and I could not be any more excited.
We got to talk about the NBA finals. Remind me. We're also joined here with Jack, Mr. Polko, for the first time in these playoffs in 10 years. Jack, how we doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. The Cubbies are hot. The Cubs have looked amazing, so good start to the summer for them.
Yeah, after like a, 100-year playoff drought?
108. It was a World Series drought, but the curse has been broken in 2016, so we don't talk about that anymore.
And we got somebody who has been forever cursed. We got LeBlanc. LeBlanc, how we doing?
I'm in shambles. The Phillies smacked us so hard today. Just belt to ass off rip.
First inning.
I watched the first inning and then I'm like, yeah, we're not doing this. Just turn that off.
We were terrible for so long, and then Bryce Harper comes back. I knew we were going to bounce back.
Well, no, they were on like an 9 game heater, and then like he got hurt. Yeah, and then he like got hurt, and then they like lost like 2 or 3, and then his first like at bat back, and he's like, nah, fuck you.
That's what I meant. We lost like 17-7, like just brutal stuff. We got a special episode here. We got the whole crew here joining us, and that's how it's going to be for every Stanley Cup final game. If you guys saw on the Instagram yesterday, you would have obviously seen my post, but for every single Stanley Cup final game, which we're going to get into here in a moment, we will be doing a podcast, recapping the game, going over the news that happened either that day or the days prior, because, these games are 2 to 3 days apart, so there's plenty of time in there for news and things to happen, coaches to get hired, and a bunch of other stuff to go on there as well. Those podcasts will drop at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So you're going to be listening to this one, and then you're going to get one on Thursday morning as well. So you're getting plenty of podcasts here over the next, I would say, 2 weeks or so, depending on, how long the series goes. But that being said, let's get into it. It's a rematch from last year. It's Oilers versus Panthers. First off, I know me and LeBlanc have had this conversation, but how are you guys feeling about this being a rematch? Like, are you upset? Are you upset that it's 2 teams again, or how do you guys feel about that?
Well, for me personally, usually I'd be pretty pissed off about a rematch, but this one I'm not too pissed about because these are 2 really good teams, and they both belong in this spot. Last year's Cup final was obviously amazing, 3-0 to 3-3. So I expect another great one.
Yeah, I completely agree. These 2 teams have been the best over the last 2 years. Edmonton has been to, have they been to 3 straight conference finals?
Yes, 3 and 4. 3 and 4.
They've been to 3 out of the 4 last conference finals. They've been to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Florida's been to the Eastern Conference finals 3 years in a row. Like, both these teams have been just absolutely unbelievable to watch over these last few years. With a cup, man, Florida could really be starting dynasty talk as far as them in the NHL, which is a big statement, I know, but when you talk about a potential 3 straight cup finals, maybe winning 2, and maybe if they come back next year and they're in the same spot, it's a big statement to put out there, but it's one that's just kind of always going to be thrown out there, especially if they end up clutching this one. But no, this is not a rematch that I'm mad to see. This is not Golden State versus the Cleveland Cavaliers for 18 years in a row. So, I mean, I'm really excited for this. Edmonton has home ice advantage this time, and I do not expect them to get out to an 0-3 deficit right away.
Anything more to add, LeBlanc? I know we just had the conversation about dynasties off camera.
We had to talk about dynasties, and I said I think a dynasty you need to. It's great getting to the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row is a big accomplishment. I'm not going to diminish that, but a dynasty is if you win 3 cups in a span of, I would say, 8 years. That's, for me, that's what a dynasty is. Like, the Blackhawks were a dynasty. That's how I see it.
Yeah, totally. But not to veer off topic, I do agree with that. I think the dynasty should be that amount.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm not usually like I'd be mad about a rematch, but I'm pumped for this one. The last year's Cup final was cinema, so I'm hoping more of the same. Just not the 0-3 start. It'd be nice to get a series off rip, not where Edmonton's catching up the entire way.
Not in Game 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, I really hope that it's not just going to be like one team dominates it this year. I really hope it's not that way. But I think, like, you look at these two teams, I mean, we can go into it here more. Like, just starting off with Florida, they obviously went 47-31-4 in the regular season. They were the 3rd seed in the Atlantic Division. All of their numbers, in fact, their like goals against, their goals for, their PK, their power play, they have all improved drastically here in these playoffs when they've needed to. They were kind of cruising into the playoffs a little bit. They come in there, they beat Tampa, they beat Toronto, they beat Carolina. What's crazy about Florida, and you guys can agree with this, is they have guys all up and down their lineup that can score. They have 10 players with 10 or more points. So Florida's been absolutely phenomenal here. Again, like, you are scoring 6-1 on Toronto twice, so that's kind of stat padding. But anyways, I think, to be honest, like, just the way this team is built and how deep they are is just absolutely phenomenal, and they can run you down as well. So just thoughts on Florida here on this run, and honestly, I think, like, they're a better team than they were last year, being dead honest with you. Did I just said everything everybody thought?
Pretty much.
Damn. Okay. Let me ask you this.
Selfish.
Can you see Florida getting a back-to-back championship here? Do you see them beating the Oilers?
Yeah. I mean, they've been incredible all playoffs.
Now, do you guys see the Oilers? Can you guys envision the Oilers losing 2 straight Stanley Cup finals?
No.
Really? I would say, yeah. I mean, the Oilers are my pick.
I can. Here's the thing. I definitely think that Edmonton will win this series. They are who I think would win. Now, as far as seeing them lose it, I definitely can. I can see them losing this series. They're already going to be down Zach Hyman, who throughout the playoffs has been an absolute machine. I know that we talked about this kind of near the start of the playoffs where I said the stat of in the regular season, he averages 1 hit. In the playoffs, he's at like 8, right? Like, that's a huge jump, and that's exactly what you need in the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying Edmonton doesn't have that, but losing a 50-goal scorer in Zach Hyman, who also hits, that's a big blow, especially against a physical Florida team who every single line has a guy that will play the body and play it hard.
I do agree with that. LeBlanc, you were going to say something?
So, I would say this. Florida's a team of agitators, and every opponent they've been under, they know they got under their skin, and they retaliate. I mean, every opponent. You look at Tampa, they got under their skin, they retaliated, and there was suspensions. We don't got to talk about that, though. And then second round, Leafs agitated them, worked, and then Carolina, all their series, they were like, nah, we don't want to get into it. In Florida, they got into it. So I'm saying this, but Edmonton's also got a couple agitators on their side too. So if they
got guys who can score, but also be that agitator type of player.
If Edmonton cannot feed into Florida's agitation, I kind of like Edmonton in this series, and I can't believe I'm going to say this after all the stuff I've said about him, but the X factor might be Stuart Skinner.
It honestly might be,
because the past 2 since he came back, he's been terrific. Like, I think we had the meme where he was like, oh, it's either he lets in 4 and Edmonton puts up 5, or he gets a shutout.
That was the meme. That was what we were saying for so long. I will say, going back to me not being able to see Edmonton lose a second Stanley Cup final, I want to take you guys back to 2008, 2009. Now, I was 2 years old in 2008, 2009, but I remember 2008, 2009 because COVID happened, and I got to watch literally all the hockey. And I remember watching those two finals, just like in their like documentaries or whatever that I was seeing. With Pittsburgh, they obviously go into 08. They're playing a really good Detroit Red Wings team, and they lose. And again, it was a hard series. They obviously lost that in 08. They rematched in 09. Pittsburgh learns from what they lost in that first year and Crosby's first year of making it to a final, and they bounce back and they win that 09 Stanley Cup off of Marc-Andre Fleury's diving save. Now, this was the first year of Connor McDavid, or last year was the first year of Connor McDavid not, him making the Stanley Cup final. And again, like, they played really hard, they lost, but I feel like from what I've seen in this playoffs from the Edmonton in the first 3 rounds compared to what I've seen in the playoffs from them in the last 3 rounds last 4 rounds, I guess, just how much better they have gotten defensively is just, it's unmatched. They run an absolute defensive clinic in your own zone, in the opposing team zone. They won't even really try to score and get high danger chances. No, they'll just they'll dump the puck in. They'll have 3 guys back all the time. They'll have 2 guys pressuring on you, and they'll move the puck around. And we saw it in the Dallas series. Dallas could barely get any shots. They would go 15 minutes without even getting a single shot. And I think seeing that from the Oilers, and again, I'm not counting Florida out here whatsoever. I can totally see them winning this series. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself here a little bit, but I have that feeling this year for the Oilers, that 09 Pittsburgh Penguins type of feeling for them, because you even saw last year of Florida where they made the Cup final in 23. They lost in 5 to Vegas. They come back last year and they won it. Again, they barely won it. They almost blew that damn final, but they still won it. I think that really matters on it. I think that experience in that Cup final really does matter. And I do agree that losing Zach Hyman's going to be a massive hit to this team. They are getting back Matthias Ekholm, though. I think we kind of forget that. He did play in Game 5. He's going to be back for that series. I'm not sure of the status with Sam Reinhart. LeBlanc, do you know anything? Is Reinhart healthy? Because he missed Game 4, right? 4 and 5?
It's TBA, to be determined, or to be announced.
Okay,
I'm not too sure what's going on with that. So,
okay, all right. But again, I feel like this year is it for the Oilers. But that being said, let's actually do our prediction here before I go too far. I already went too far into mine. 3, 2, 1, Oilers.
Oh, man.
So, Jack, did you say Panthers, Jack?
I said Oilers.
Oh, my God, we all have Oilers. Okay.
Yeah, I picked them in my bracket to begin with, so.
Ooh, okay, so you're rolling right now,
Yeah.
Jack. You might win the bracket challenge between all 3 of us. Or you have,
outside
actually.
of Jack, all 3 of us, we just sold on all of our bracket picks.
I thought I did so good in round 1, and then I just sold so hard.
I had a bad round 1, actually.
But anyways, Carter, I'll go to Carter first. I already said my spiel on why I think Edmonton's going to win. Why do you think Edmonton's going to win?
So I have this is my statement for why I think they'll win, but there's also a way that I think that they might not win. This could also contradict itself in the same way. Last season, Connor McDavid had 3 games where he put up 0 points. Is he really going to do that again? I don't think so. Now, to go against that, he also had 2 games where he had 4 points. Is he really going to do that again? Probably not. This series, I'm expecting a lot more consistency out of Connor McDavid because he's only had, in this playoff run, 2 games with 0 points. I don't think we're either going to witness a cold Connor McDavid, which I don't think is going to happen, but I can't see this guy going through 3 games in a 7-game series with 0 points. I just can't see it. So Connor McDavid is outside of Stuart Skinner, he's going to be one of the biggest X factors right now. He's putting up a little bit less of a total than he was last year, but I mean, he's been playing just unbelievable hockey, and he's looking a lot healthier too. So as far as Edmonton, that's why I take them. But I mean, I would not be shocked if Florida wins this one.
I will say this. I did say this in my preview. McDavid did have 0 points in Game 6 and 7 of last year's Cup final. I don't think that happens again either. I totally agree. We know what McDavid can do. We know what this guy is. I'll go to LeBlanc next. Actually, LeBlanc, what is your statement on why you think the Oilers are going to win?
I'm going to say this right now. So when Florida first went to their first final since '96, they played Vegas.
Yeah,
and they got pumped, and they took what they learned from that Cup final and took it to this last Cup final, and they succeeded. I like the trend I see with that. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Every time there's been a rematch, the last time there was a repeat winner was the 70s. When Montreal played Boston.
Montreal. Man,
I
crazy.
Can't, and this is probably just a me thing. I can't see McDavid losing a second Cup final. I don't see
you're in the same boat with me.
I don't see it happening. I think Stuart Skinner's turned on another level. They're getting Matthias Ekholm back, which is huge for that blue line. He really is like a rock. You put him with Bouchard, he's a rock on that defensive pair. And I'm looking at.
You're pretty much saying the same things that I've been saying.
And I'm looking looking at his supporting cast around McDavid. You look at guys like Draisaitl's been really stepping up lately. Like Draisaitl has as much points as McDavid. Look at guys like Evander Kane's been really, really good this playoffs. Corey Perry has returned to form at the age of 40.
It's actually unreal. He's been so phenomenal.
Bouchard, after his earlier struggles in round one, has really blossomed into this great puck-moving defenseman. And that's probably with me glazing, but I can see Florida winning this, but I will not bet against McDavid again.
Yeah, I think what we forget with last year was Draisaitl was injured. I'm pretty sure he had 1 assist in the Stanley Cup final last year. I think he was dealing with an injury. He played, but he didn't really contribute that much. As far as I know, he's healthy. And then last but not least, Jack, everybody may have said what you have been saying, but what is your statement on why you think the Oilers are going to win this year?
All I got to say is dig in right now.
Dig in. I love that, Jack. I love that, Jack. Is that all you got? I love that.
Well, I mean, they went down 2-0 to LA, and I'm like, well, there goes my bracket. But, I mean, ever since those 2 games, they've been incredible. I mean, their goaltending has proved, I think, pretty much every hockey fan wrong. And, I mean, yeah, they've just been incredible ever since those first pretty much 2 games of the playoffs.
You know who's like the MVP of bringing the Oilers here? Jim Hiller. That man single-handedly got this team to the final, and LeBlanc's brothers in shambles.
You're lucky. At home.
I do want to say this. We've been kind of riding on the Oilers here a lot. I want to kind of go around to all you guys and ask, what is your rebuttal here on Florida? I still think Florida can still win this series. I know I've been kind of contradicting myself here a little bit. But I'm going to say the same thing that LeBlanc said, never betting on the Oilers again. But this Panthers team is very deep. They can run you down physically. They can play offense. They have guys who have been scoring all up and down the roster, significantly more than Edmonton has. I think there is a world where they win this series, but I'm just not sure it's in the cards this year. I'll go to Carter next. Carter, what do you have to say about Florida, and can they win this series?
100% they can. I think that this is super wide open. It's the biggest way that they win this is off of physicality, as LeBlanc said. It's physicality and being able to agitate. You don't think that Florida is going to hold over? We beat you last year. We'll do it again over their heads. 100% they will. The only thing that Florida has to say in this series is they don't have to say a fucking word. It's just point at the rafters. You see that banner? That's ours that we took from you. We gave you 3 games. We made it close. and he yanked it right out from under you. That's all Florida has to do. They already have that slight mental edge of, we have you where we want you. It's just going to be about not letting that get to Florida's head and completely blowing this. There's not a player on Edmonton with the same level of physicality and play style and scoring touch as Matthew Tkachuk, as Sam Bennett, as I don't even know who else you'd throw in there, but like really those two guys, there's not a player on Edmonton that can do that. The only player that would have came close, he's done for the year. I don't think that like it's going to be really hard for Edmonton. And as much as what I'm saying makes me feel like Florida is going to win this series, it's still don't bet against McDavid.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm going to say this. It's easy to forget what Florida did last year and the year before and what they have been doing. They have won, like 11 out of their last 12 playoff series. It's, like, actually insane. LeBlanc, what do you think about Florida, and can they win this series?
So I'm going to put my Canadian bias aside for this, and I'm going to give you an actual rebuttal for the Panthers. First of all, you look at Florida, I would say their goaltending is better. Goaltending is better. They have, like Carter said, they have the more physical edge, like players like you said, like a Chuck Bennett. I even throw Brad Marchand in there too. Edmonton's most physical player, I would honestly say it's probably Evander Kane and maybe Trent Frederick, who doesn't see a lot of ice time.
Yeah,
like I said, they can outmuscle them, and like they have the mental edge. I would say I think Florida's deeper than Edmonton up front as well. They have all four lines cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still the defending champs. You got it. You can't say you were the best unless you beat the best. And especially if they go down early, if Edmonton goes down early, I feel, and they go back to Florida, I don't see a positive outcome for the Oilers.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I will say this too. Edmonton does have home ice advantage as well.
They do. So that's why
it's different.
Going up early is crucial for the Oilers.
Yes, it's very crucial. They got to win the first, at least one of two. And then last but not least, Jack, I know you're kind of at the end of everything, but can you see Florida winning this series?
I can. I definitely can. I mean, this is a team that just dominated everybody last year, and I mean, really has dominated teams this year in the playoffs. I mean, you look at every round. I mean, the Leafs had them in 2 games, and boom, 4 straight series over just like that. I mean, it's just crazy what they've been doing in the playoffs, and I definitely do see a world where they win. But I mean, as we've been saying, like McDavid isn't going to be denied.
If the Panthers go and beat the Oilers in less than 7, you already know Leaf fans are going to be like, "Hey, we came the closest.
Yeah,
bring it back. Bring back the core." You already know.
Oh, they'll be like, you didn't get it done. McDavid to Toronto. Book it, run it up.
Yeah, that's something they would say.
That is something they would say. Absolutely. One more thing here on Florida. I really do think, like, if they can shut down McDavid and Draisaitl, like, I know there's other scoring on the Oilers, but if you can shut down those 2 guys and give them nothing, you might have this series in the bag. Like, even though the Oilers are way more deeper than last year, even if you still shut those 2 down, it really is difficult for this team to produce offense outside of like maybe Bouchard and Nuge. But I may be contradicting myself, but even still. That being said, let's jump out of the Stanley Cup final unless you all have any more thoughts and take a look at some recent news around the league. First off, Jack, I'm just now noticing this. Is your hat upside down?
Yeah, it is.
What is that?
It's something called the Reverse brand. I don't know. It's kind of popular, like I'd say in the Midwest. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Nordic.
We've had it in Winnipeg. There was like for the whiteout, we had it upside down where it said whiteout. I was gonna buy one, but every single person and their mom had that hat. And
it's my college, so it says Redbirds.
I've never seen anything like that.
I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I've never heard of the Reverse brand.
Interesting.
It's got to be a Midwest thing. So
I feel like it is mostly a Midwest thing.
Okay, so I guess Winnipeg's Midwest now. I'll take that.
I mean, Midwest Canada.
I mean, they're above.
We're close enough.
They're close. They might as well. Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota is considered the Midwest. So
Minnesota's
Oh, perfect.
one of the most Midwest.
All right, we're in then.
One more thing,
Yeah,
though.
pretty much.
The entire country, though, Evan, I'm gonna say this right now, except for Calgary, the Calgary area is oil country.
yeah,
Oh, I believe
definitely.
it. I totally believe that. Yeah,
Except for Calgary. Except for Calgary.
Yeah.
They don't play those games. They don't play those games down there. But other
No,
than that,
definitely not.
I think the majority of like North America is Oilers, is pulling for the Oilers. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I mean, there's some there are people who hate the Oilers, but I think a lot of people are pulling for McDavid to just get his cup. 'Cause I honestly, I'm just tired of hearing the cup narrative with Canada and McDavid.
I'm so
sick of hearing.
I'm so sick of it. Like, is it gonna happen? Oh, like I'm so sick of it every year. Like,
What sucks
is
though
this
is
the
only
year? Also, I have a question for you guys. Actually, if the Panthers win, do you give the Conn Smythe to McDavid again, even if he's?
Oh, I didn't even think
away
about the Conn Smythe. I
as
should ask you
playoffs?
guys that.
I don't know, man.
It would have
I don't
to
think I could answer that right
It would
now.
have to depend what he does in the final. Like, if he's like a ghost in the final, then no. But honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he wins it again. That'd actually be insane. That would actually be insane. Yeah, moving out of that, Lane Lambert is named the brand new head coach of the Seattle Kraken. This is the only coaching hire that we have seen. There's a couple rumors involving Pittsburgh and Boston that we can get into here. And then we got a bunch of signings to talk about too, along with injuries and all that. But for me, like, I'm still torn about Dan Bylsma. I really was not happy with that. This isn't like a bad hire, but it's also not a good hire. LeBlanc, me and you have been going on with Seattle for a long time here. LeBlanc, what are your thoughts on this? I'll go to you first.
I have a lot to say. So,
Here we go.
first of all, Seattle, you piss me off. Like, I don't know if I get started like that. I've been to Seattle for a game. It's such a great fan experience, but their front office is just Lane Lambert, and I don't want to. I'm not discredit Lane Lambert, all his accomplishments. He had a short stint with the Islanders. It didn't really work out. I think he was with the Leafs this past year, if I'm not mistaken.
He was. I think he was like the penalty kill coach or whatever.
Coach for the Leafs. Once again,
Something.
like Dan Bylsma, it made zero sense to fire Dan Bylsma out of the roster he had. I don't see Lane Lambert as an upgrade at all. I'm not going to say I'm going to give it a chance, but I'm not going to say it's a horrible hire. But it's a hire that it's a head scratcher. I don't get it. It also look at me. Maybe some coaches are like, Seattle. Nah, I'm good. I don't want to, because it's turning into it's getting on the fringes of a dumpster fire. I'm gonna be frank.
It's heading there.
It's not a great situation. But Lane Lambert, you can do one thing. You can convince Jason Martone to draft a defenseman.
Yes. Let me go to the other guys first before I say my little spiel. Jack, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, there was that short stint in New York, like you said, but I mean, not terrible. He is a name that does have the experience, so we'll see
He
how
does
it
have
plays out.
experience. I will agree with that. He does have experience. He was a long-time assistant in the AHL, and obviously got a stint with the Islanders, and then was an assistant with Toronto. Carter, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, you guys kind of touch base on a lot of it. Like, he's got a lot of the experience, but I mean, when you look at kind of his past, his two other seasons, I mean, not the greatest record of all time, but I mean, you look at that 22-23 season of the Islanders, I mean, 42-31, like, that's not a bad record, but I mean, at the same time, Seattle's nowhere near the team that the Islanders were at that time, so it's going to be hard to kind of judge him. So they got to get him some help. They got to get the team some help. But yeah, I don't agree with them kind of going after the coach when it's the entire roster that's got issues.
Yeah, you just kind of said what I was going to touch base on. Like, I mean, again, like Bylsma wasn't perfect. He did a lot of good things there, though. I mean, we went into it so much on the episode when he got fired.
Mhm.
It was just so confusing to me. But he made Shane Wright really good. He made, brought up Yanni Nyman, and he took Coachella Valley to 2 straight Calder Cup finals. And you give him like half a season, then you fire him. I'm like, all right, that's a little bit weird, but maybe they'll hire a pretty good head coach. They lost out on Rick Tocchet. They lost out on Mike Sullivan. They lost out on a couple other guys that would have been pretty good for them. So they ended up with Lane Lambert, who was in Toronto. And I'm not saying Lambert is like a bad coach. He's not. I think he's a middle of the road guy.
Yeah.
Like I think LeBlanc may have said something similar to it. Like he's not incredible, but he's not like terrible. It's just kind of like something where like, it's not. I feel like for this team to be like a contender with this roster, you're going to need to hire somebody like Rick Tocchet or Mike Sullivan or like Jim Montgomery. For all we know, I know Montgomery wasn't on the market, but like somebody of that type of aspect to this team, because I simply just don't think the roster's good. It's not. It's a mid at best team, and you even look at Lane Lambert, what he's done in the NHL, first round exits minimum. That's literally what he's done maximum in the NHL in his coaching career. Like again, it really doesn't move the needle that much. I feel like Seattle is like. They're not like taking a step backwards, but they're also not taking a step forwards either. It just feels like they're just stuck in the same place, unless if they make some really big moves and move the needle, and maybe they do draft a defenseman. Like I don't think anything changes next year. Honestly, I really don't think anything changes.
I'm going to be frank here. Not even, like you said, they lost out on Tocchet and Sullivan. Not even those coaches could save this roster.
You're probably right. I'm just being generous.
My opinion of Ron Francis, the great player Ron Francis has extremely diminished. I just like you said, they need to make major moves, or I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe they go full rebuild.
Maybe they get Gavin McKenna, and then the narrative changes forever.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, then who cares? Who gives a shit? Let's go ruin another franchise player.
Yeah, that's a team that just has not wanted to rebuild. It's just retool every year.
Yeah, I mean, they had that fluke year in year 2 that they made it to the conference.
Yeah,
that made it like
fluke.
within one of the conference finals. But since then, it's just been mediocrity. Like it's like actually sad, honestly.
Yeah, because
moving out of Seattle before sorry, LeBlanc, you got more?
That 23 Seattle team was super fun. That was such a rock.
That was such a fun team. Yes, I 100% agree. It was like the Vegas Misfits. Like it was so much fun. And then no, they fucked it up. They ruined it. Matty Beniers' development's been stalled. All that, whatever. Anyways, let's move out of Seattle before I get really frustrated. The Flyers have been making some really big moves the last couple of weeks. Me and Carter can go in depth with this. Tyson Forster signed a 2-year, $3.75 million extension with the Flyers. This is a bridge deal. I think Forster, the last 2 seasons has been awesome. I think this is a young player who was drafted in the Chuck Fletcher era. That actually was a pretty good move, and I really like what Forster's been this year and the last 2 years. And I really think this kid, who I think a lot of people kind of overlook, I really do think this guy is going to pop off next year. Seriously. At a 2-year, less than $4 million AAV, like you get like third liners of that money. And I think Forster's at least a second liner, honestly. Carter, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I like the contract for Forster. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he just had a 25 goal season. This past year, he had 25 and 18. I mean, this guy's probably going to be a 30 goal scorer for sure, maybe even 35 if he finds his game. He's really good. I really like how he plays. I think he's definitely worth the money that we gave him. So yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it, but I think that the potential's there. And I mean, a short bridge deal does kind of suck, because I wish we could have kept him for longer, because he probably would have been decently cheap, but that's not how agents work, sadly.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. Also, Noah Cates today signed a 4-year, $4 million extension too. In my opinion, it's like a smidge too much, if you can even argue that, but I still think it's a very good contract. Like, this guy is like, I think he honestly could be like a Selke player in his prime, like low key, and maybe I'm overrating him, but I think this guy can be like, he's a very good minded defensive third line player. And I think that getting him for 4 years at that money, I think that's pretty good. So, Carter, you have any thoughts on that one too?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's still a very fair contract. I mean, you kind of said it. I think he's a great two-way player. I mean, Selke's high aspirations, but I mean, you never know. You never know. The only thing that he's got to do is just really get his scoring up because, I mean, you're paying him $4 million. We're basically going to end up paying him $100,000 a point, which I mean is not bad by any means, but $4 million, especially with the cap massively rising over these next couple of years, it's not that bad of a deal. It only eats up 4% of the cap right now, but I think by next year, I think that's going to be what, like 3.5% of the cap. Then by 2.5, like it's going to look like absolutely nothing in a few years. So, especially if he ends up kind of panning out and gets a little bit better, can he get some more points? Not mad at it at all.
Yeah, seriously. LeBlanc and what'd you say, LeBlanc?
4 is the new 2. 4 mil is the new 2.
It is.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, LeBlanc and Jack. Any thoughts on those? If you have any?
Not really, no.
I got to see Tyson Forrester play junior in the O. I got to see him play live a couple times, and when he really did impress me. And then now he's a 2-time 20 goal scorer in the NHL. Definitely a really good contract and really good player for the Flyers to lock up. And then Noah Cates. Noah Cates is a good defensive forward. I don't think it's too much. I think when the cap goes up, you'll be like, don't worry about it. So,
yeah, I agree.
But I agree. Selke is very high aspirations, but he's very good.
Right.
He's very good in his own zone, though.
Fair enough. Other signings here that are worth bringing up. Yanni Gourde signed a 6-year, $2.33 million contract with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's a long deal, but I honestly don't think it is that bad. I think Gourde, again, he's going to be on this till he's like 39 years old. But I even think still, like, it's $2.3 million. It's not like you're signing him to, like, even, like, 5 or 6 mil. Like, it's still, I think they had to make it long, so the AAV was down. I think that's pretty much what this is. But any thoughts on this contract?
Bro secured his retirement bag. No tax state in Florida. And then you get the long 6 years. I think it's a good move for the Lightning. Gourde's going to be a really good bottom six player for them into his aging twilight. So, yeah. Yeah,
for sure. Any thoughts from you two, Jack or Carter?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, this kind of does just scream like LTIR and like year 5 of this deal. But I mean, he came from Seattle, which we've talked about, and they are bad. He had 17 points through 36, but then he comes over to Tampa. He's got 14 points through 21 games. So, I mean, he looked really good on Tampa, and I mean, getting him for $2 million, like, it's not bad. And like we said, if 4 is the new 2, 2 is probably what, the new 1?
Yeah.
Probably, 2 is the new 800.
That would make sense.
2 is the new league minimum.
To be honest, yeah. I mean, honestly, in a couple of years, it might be, just with the way the cap's going.
Yeah, it will be.
Couple signings here to just go through very quickly. Kyle Palmieri signed a 2-year, $4.75 million deal. Adam Boquist, 1 year, $850K. The Senators signed Tyler Klevin.
K-Train!
2 years, $6. The K-Train there. He actually had a pretty good year. I like Klevin a lot. Wasn't he playing consistent playoff minutes?
No, he might have been, other than Standerson, the best defenseman on Ottawa in the playoffs.
Wow. Okay. I like that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for the signings. A couple minor ones that aren't really too big to bring up. One more thing here. Adam Lowry is going to miss the start of next season. He is out 5 to 6 months with a hip injury, so he's likely going to miss, I think, 5 to 6 months from now is like just December, late November. So maybe it's a little bit shorter, but a tough loss there for the Jets with Lowry. I'm sure Carter can attest to that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the news around the NHL. So to wrap up this episode, we're going to be continuing on with what we were doing in the last episode that me and LeBlanc were on. We're going to be doing our prospect previews here once again. We're going to be doing two guys. We got James Hagens and Porter Martone here first up on the list. So James Hagens, born November 3rd, 2006, in New York, went to Boston College this past year. He is mostly known as a center, 5'10", 177 pounds. This year in Boston College, had 11 goals, 26 assists for 37 points in 37 games played with BC. In the World Juniors, he actually had 9 points in 7 games on USA's route to winning the World Juniors this past year. So we'll go to LeBlanc first here. LeBlanc, what are you expecting here out of a guy like James Hagens?
I'm expecting a guy who has a big hockey IQ, very good skater. I'm expecting big things. I'm expecting really big things from him. I think he was the consensus number one pick in September, and then he didn't have a great year at Boston College, and everyone's like, "Oh, trash, write him off." But I honestly see a very good player. I'll be honest. I feel like he could go number 2.
He could very well go number 2.
He's not number 2.
I'm going to say this right now. Oh, sorry.
He's not number 2 on my board, but he's definitely should be up there.
Yeah, he could go number 2. I don't think he's as good as he was profiled to be at the beginning of the year. I think just the slow year with Boston College, I think it may have shown that his development going from, the USHL or, the United States program or whatever to college, it definitely was an adjustment. But I overall do think that Hagens is going to be still a very good player. I will ask this. Could you guys see Hagens maybe taking more time to develop? Possibly? Like maybe he doesn't come to the NHL
I think
year?
so. I honestly am under the impression that I think he might stay another year in college. I think that might be honestly best for his development. I mean, he didn't have a great year, right? It wasn't the best as what people were expecting. Like, I think a lot of people were expecting him to maybe put up 50, maybe 60, right? Have like a Macklin Celebrini type year. He didn't do that, but you also got to remember he was playing on a really stacked Boston College team as an 18-year-old. It's not easy to put up a crap ton of points like that. So maybe with him having the complete reins at Boston College, it's going to really help his development. So I think what's best for him would maybe be play another year in BC, especially if he goes to a team where, they're not aspiring him to come in right away. Why not give him another chance to grow his game, completely work out all week, get a little bit more size? I mean, he's 180, which isn't like bad at all, but I mean, you could always add a little bit more weight, a little bit more muscle and weight to throw around. But I mean, yeah, I think another year in Boston College wouldn't be the worst thing for him.
Yeah, he's listed,
totally.
He's listed right now as 5'11", 175. I don't expect him to sign his ELC this year. Like I would expect him to go back to school where he's going to have a bigger role in the Boston College offense. And a year under his belt, I think it'll be a great development year for James Hagens. And honestly, if he wants to stay another year, I'm not opposed to that either. Like a following year as well. Like the NCAA, especially the teams in the NCHC, which is the conference that BC plays in. All the schools there. They're known for their developing young players. So
yes, agree.
I think honestly, it's a mandatory requirement. You go back to school.
It does kind of depend on who drafts him. There might be some people who maybe believe the AHL might be a better step for him this coming year. But I mean, honestly, I think the way he looked in BC, I think he's going back to Boston College for another year. But not to say that he's not going to, maybe get a shot in training camp and, get to play some preseason. And maybe, who knows, if he looks pretty good, maybe you keep him around for a little bit. It's different, though, with the NCAA players because I don't think they can play games in the NHL like regular season. They have to go back to college.
So once you sign your ELC, you can't go back to school. Once you get it used to be like that. Any amount of money, you're done. But also, he can't you can't play AHL games until you're 20. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah. So that kind of defeats the purpose.
So I don't know if to contradict you, but Yeah, I think
Yeah,
going back, it's either go back to school or just go back to school. I think that's the only option you got.
I mean, it's go back to school or play in the NHL when I don't really think you're ready necessarily. Again, like I just think of like, for example, like Jet Luchenko came in, played a couple games, wasn't ready, sent him back to Guelph. But you can't do that with a guy like Hagens because he's in college. So I think honestly, it's somebody who is going to take a little bit to develop. But I think this guy can be a phenomenal player. LeBlanc, what are his strengths?
Like I said, like great hockey IQ. The dude's got great vision. He makes the smart plays. He passes well. He is a very good skater. Like I think he's one of the best skaters in the draft for forwards. And then puck control, dude's nasty with it. I don't know how to say it any better than that. Really great movement of the puck. Really great. He can dish it out too. I feel like he's got to work on a few things though, but we'll want to say those now. I want me to get to it later.
I was going to go into that next. What are his like weaknesses?
All right. He needs to get stronger. He needs to beef up. He needs to, of course, being 5'11", 175. That's not bad size, but I assume he's going to grow into his body. But he needs to work on his strength and physicality. His compete level isn't where it needs to be. His pace, he needs to adjust to the NHL pace. And then, once again, with young players, what's the one mistake they always make? I'm going to ask you this right now.
What is it?
Forcing plays.
I'm not even going to guess because I don't think you're wrong. Forcing plays. Yeah, totally. So, yeah, Carter, anything more to add on Mr. James Hagens?
No, I mean, I think that this guy's got all the potential in the world to be the number one player. I think another year in college will do him well. I think LeBlanc touched perfectly on his strengths. I mean, the amount of highlights that I saw at the start of the year from this kid when the hype was like huge around him, and then after, Misa had great years, Schaefer looked unbelievable. All these guys started playing better than him. We didn't see a lot of him. This guy's still an elite player. I remember watching a few clips of him literally take the puck from the top of the blue line, do a full lap, edges like Crosby, doing the little like V steps around, head up the whole way, stick handling, moving around defenders. Like this guy's got great hands, great hockey IQ, as LeBlanc said, and like his head's up the whole way. He knows where everything is. So, I mean, whoever gets this kid is going to get an absolute like stud. And he's not bad defensively either. I think he's got a great two-way game as well. I was trying to find his face-off stats somewhere, but I couldn't. So we'll just kind of leave his stats on as far as that out of the way here.
So LeBlanc, I asked you this question when we did Misa and Schaefer. What do you think is the floor for Hagens?
Are we doing player comparable, or you want to just say like in general?
Let's not do player comparable because I think that's kind of hard. Let's just do it in general.
Last time, and it was a struggle. I'm not gonna lie.
It was pretty bad. Yeah, so let's just do.
James Hagen, I think his floor is middle sixer. Like,
what do you think his ceiling is?
At worst, he's gonna be a fringe second liner.
Probably, yeah. I think so too. Like he's gonna be either a fringe second line guy, maybe a high end 3C. But yeah, that's probably his floor. What do you think his ceiling would be?
At best is 1C, like elite first line center.
Probably, yeah. The Hockey News has his comparable at best case scenario, Jack Hughes. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I could see that. I think he's got the tangibles for it for sure. It might be a little bit of a stretch to compare him to Jack Hughes because Jack Hughes had the unbelievable national development team stats to like back up that take. But at the same time, he also came into the NHL slow, right? But I mean, obviously James Hagens came into college slow, so that's a little different from the NHL. But I mean, I could totally see that. He's got all the tangibles for it.
What do you think about that, LeBlanc?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Carter said. I feel like when we see comparisons, you always go like, whoa. Like, but I look at them as prospects coming out. Jack Hughes coming out was this highly touted prospect. I see shades of Jack Hughes in Hagen's game. I really do. I see him as Jack Hughes light.
Yeah, totally.
And Jack Hughes is the player we thought he was going to be. He didn't really turn in. He didn't turn into that, but he turned into something better.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move on to James Hagens there. Sorry.
One more thing. I feel like Hagens has to go to the right situation, though.
Probably. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it depends.
I really do think, and I think I've been against them drafting him every time, but a team like Chicago where he can develop with young players, I don't want to see him. I really don't want to see him go to a team like Nashville.
Yeah, me neither. That would suck.
I think that would be the worst case scenario for James Hagens, but I think he's going to go within the top 5, though.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be shocked if he drops out of the top 5. Moving on from Hagens, let's jump into Porter Martone, born October 26, 2006 in Peterborough, Ontario. He spent the year with the Brampton Steelheads. He's 6'3", 208 pounds, is listed as a right winger per the Hockey News. He had 98 points in 57 games played this past year with Brampton. He played 3 games in the World Juniors, only had 1 goal. I like Martone. I think Martone has that really good offensive side to his game. He has a knack to score, but can also be a very good puck mover here as well. I do feel like the hype around Misa and Schaefer and a couple other players kind of really took a lot of it off of Martone, but Martone's still going to be a very good player, honestly, in my opinion.
Yes, you look at Martone, and when you get with Martone is you get just, I'll be honest, kind of a maniac on skates. He's gonna. I feel like he's 18 right now. He's 6'3". He's gonna grow into that. I feel like he might grow to 6'4", 6'5". Big, like he's a great playmaker. He's an amazing playmaker, but he's also could use his body. That's the one thing you like about that. You like a player who can stoop and I hate to compare him to a Kachuk, but he's got shades of a Kachuk.
Really? Okay, then.
Great stick handling, great playmaking, great hockey IQ, and then compete level's really good. I got to see Porter Martone play 2 games this year in person. And I know every time we do a mock draft, I have him dropping, but the kid actually blew me away.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good, honestly. Carter, any thoughts on Mr. Martone?
Yeah, I mean, again, LeBlanc kind of hit it right on the head. I mean, this guy is huge. Like, he's not one of these guys that's small and fast. He's big and fast. Like, you want to talk about 6'3", 205, 210 pounds, whatever you want to fully list him at, charging right at you at full speed with the puck, head up, stick handling around you. Oh, that's a scary sight. That is a scary sight. This guy's got an absolute lethal shot. He's probably got an NHL caliber shot for sure. His hands are unbelievable. Again, his hockey IQ, knows where everything is. He's making some unbelievable passes. I can't remember who it was against, but I saw he made this absolutely unbelievable pass for a nice backdoor tap in. Oof. I mean, this guy he's got, again, like Hagens, he's got all the tangibles to be an unbelievable player. And I think that this guy is built for playoff hockey as well.
He really is. He really is, seriously. LeBlanc, what are his strengths?
I think I went over all of them with you. I said stick handling, playmaking, hockey IQ. I think those are the 3 big ones in my mind. I would put his compete level in there too.
He's a maniac. He's crazy.
Yeah, I'm reading a little bit of the Hockey News excerpt here. It's saying, quote, if you need a distillation of Martone's game, just watch the first ever OHL Top Prospects game this season. The power forward notched the Gordie Howe hat trick in an all-star showdown with the goal coming as the OT winner. So, like, again, this guy's an absolute maniac, honestly.
In an all-star game, he gets a Gordie Howe hat trick. When have we, okay, outside of, John Scott, okay, when have we ever seen that?
Yeah, literally. Like, it's this guy is he's on a different level, it seems, than a lot of other players in this draft. LeBlanc, what are his weaknesses though?
Forcing plays once again, as all young players do, but Martone forces the play more than I would say James Hagens does. I've seen time and time again where Martone has a guy open, not right in the slot, but he's a guy open for the play, and he'll force it to the guy that's covered. And I've seen it time and time again. But that's the goal of coaching, so you just need him to get that out of his system and develop it. He's not the best defensive forward. He's not great on the back check.
Yeah.
Some players are like that. Sometimes you can coach it into them. Sometimes it's like, that's who he is. And then,
yeah, honestly,
I would say his skating pace as well. So he needs to work on his skating. Once again, big guy. I say like the bigger guys, their skating is always questionable coming into drafts. That's usually the biggest concern with guys who are over 6'3" is skating's not that great. Fixed goal of coaching. But yeah, Martone. On multiple draft boards I've been seeing as I'm the draft guy. I like to watch videos on the draft, look at mock drafts. Martone is slipping on boards. I don't know why.
he is.
I feel like after the combine, we're gonna have him going top 4.
I think it's just like it's the hype around all the other players. I think like everybody looks at Frondell and Denoye, and we're like, yes, but I think everybody kind of forgets like how good this guy really is.
Yeah, and like and Martone wasn't. I don't think he was injured this year. I don't believe he.
I don't believe so. I do think he got hurt in the World Juniors. I know Schaefer did as well.
Yeah, Schaefer was his collarbone. I think Martone was just like off and on. Like, just never got a fair shot.
Well, I mean that World Junior team was pretty awful.
We don't need to talk about the World Junior.
We don't need to talk about that, Nordic. We get it. You won. Okay, let's move past it.
I wasn't talking about how we won. I was just talking about how like Canada was just so dysfunctional.
But
hopefully next year's better though. You guys have a lot of good guys coming up.
For his development, I know there's rumors on him going to Penn State. I know that's been put out there.
Yes, sir. I did forget about that. LeBlanc, what do you think this guy's floor is?
Third liner.
Third liner. Okay. What about the ceiling?
Ceiling, he's not a center, so I want to put that out there. He could be a really good first line winger. I don't think he's going to be an elite first line winger though.
And I can maybe see it. He has the shades. I think he's going to be like again.
But once again, you need to go to the right situation.
He would be a guy like Matthew Tkachuk in a way. Like he would be
comparable for the hockey news. Like, when you got the thing, what's his comparable?
You know what it is? It's actually Matthew Tkachuk.
Oh my god!
What do you guys think about? Do you guys think that could happen? I think it's like not. He'd be like a
Matthew Tkachuk,
a tier below
Matthew Tkachuk light. Like he has shades of Matthew Tkachuk. Like I'm not going to say no.
I feel like he'd be like a tier below Matthew Tkachuk, like slightly below Tkachuk if he's at his best.
I'm gonna say this. I think the best situation for Martone to go to, you could say Chicago because they need a player like Martone. I really think Utah or Philly could really use a guy like Martone.
If Martone's at 6, I think Philly would be so dumb not to take him. I think even like. I don't think he gets to 6 either. I mean, he honestly might with the way that these teams are.
These boards have been so weird where, like, once I'm seeing, like, Martone slipping to, like, 6 or 7 or Hagens is slipping to 6 or 7. One of these guys is going to slip.
Yeah. Somebody's going to slip. We're going to be shocked. Yeah, Anaheim's not picking top 3 this year, so
I mean, last year was Demidov. He slipped.
Yeah, last year was Demidov. Probably might be the best player out of that draft besides Celebrini at the end of things, which is still crazy to me. I wouldn't be shocked if Martone's the guy this year, but honestly, I do agree. Like, if Utah or Philly really could use a player like him, although I think Utah would.
The Athletic had him at who they publish a mock draft every 2 weeks. They had him at 8.
Jesus Christ,
that's low.
Yeah, and
that's criminal.
Here's the thing: I like Frondell. I like him as a prospect. I'm in my eyes, Martone and Frondell are on the same level of tier of prospect.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking, if a lot of mocks have Frondell at number 3, Frondell's at 3. You got to take Martone at 4, or at least for me right now. There's no way in my mind he slips out of the top 5.
Yeah. One more thing on Martone. You guys did say he is going to Penn State. How do you guys feel about that with his development? I think that's going to be a very good move for him, honestly. You see him transition from the OHL to college. I think like if he can do like even remotely what he's been doing in the OHL, like I know the OHL is way higher scoring. I think that could be really huge for his development, honestly.
Yeah, is he officially committed to Penn State, or is it just a rumor?
No, it's a rumor right now.
Right.
But if he were to go to college in general, I think it would be a good move.
If he goes to
I'm not saying that staying in the OHL is bad, but still.
Yeah, if he goes to Penn State, Penn State's a really good up and coming program. They were they in the final or in like the Frozen Four? They're in the Frozen Four.
They were in the Frozen Four.
Yeah.
They almost beat Boston University, but we won't talk about that.
But yeah, I think it's a great program for him to go to for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, especially. I was just gonna say, especially because he can't go to the AHL, as we've already touched base on. I think the jump from junior to college is much better than being 19 years old and playing against the junior guys. And then I think I was listening to, I think it was 32 Thoughts, and you have until I think January 1st. And if he wants, he could end up going back to junior if he wanted to.
Oh, really? So if you were to go to college,
so he could go to college for like the first little bit. If he's struggling, not finding his game, Brampton still owns his rights, or unless they trade his rights, right? He could end up going back to the O.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
I do want to say as well.
Yeah, me either.
Regarding like Hagens is in college, if he does sign, and let's say they want to send him back, CHL teams have the rights of those players.
Yep.
So if Hagens signs and they say we're going to send you back, he's probably going to go play in the O or the W.
He could just go to any team at that point?
It depends on who has his rights, because there's a US draft. But I don't know if it's like, I don't know how it would work if he'd go to the WHL or the OHL. That I'm not sure how it works, but I know that someone in one of those leagues would own his rights. Let me see if I can find who it is.
It's usually a regional thing, so I think the O would be where he'd be going. Because usually if the
would be the O.
Gets from out,
New York.
from like the Western United States, they go to the W. If they're from the Eastern United States, they usually would have the rights to the Q or the O in the Midwest.
So his rights are owned by London. So he would be going to the OHL.
I was going to say London would be the perfect spot if that happened.
That's weird. Even though he's never played in the OHL, he'll be able to be sent back.
Yeah, like I think Trevor Connolly's rights are in the Dub right now.
Okay, I did not know that.
Because he was just drafted in the expansion draft for Penticton.
I did not know that. That's actually kind of nice. Let me ask, can you like look up what like who was Ryan Leonard owned by?
Well, Ryan Leonard's signed now, so
I know, but like before, what was he owned by?
The Knights own. I'll be honest. The Knights own a lot of those rights because they'll take the chance on the player in the later rounds of the U.S. draft.
They're also like right there with most of where these guys are from. So
I didn't see anything on Ryan Leonard.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't know that. That's cool. Anyways, that's a wrap for this episode of the NordCast and Nord & Block podcast. LeBlanc, any final thoughts?
So this is a funny story because you're gonna laugh. I'm not gonna laugh, but
here we go.
When Tyler Boucher got picked,
oh god,
and he struggled at BU. The 67 owned his rights, so I got to go see his first ever game at 67 where he scored like one of the best goals not of all time, excuse me. Scored one of the best goals I've ever seen live, and I'm right on the glass, and on the replay you could see me jump up as soon as he scored the goal. You could see me in my ripped jeans. But yeah, no, that's how I found out about the NCAA rights, is that the OHL, WHL, and QMHL teams, they draft for the rights of the players.
I did not know that. Actually, yeah, now that I'm looking at it, like he went from BC to the OHL. Wow, I didn't know that. Cool. Carter, any final thoughts?
No, I got nothing, but it's a fun time for hockey now. Enjoy it.
It is. It really is a fun time. Enjoy it, fellas. Well, that's it for us here on the NordCast and NBP. Thank you all for watching or listening. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Ciao.